There is a silent brutality in the American gaze that almost no one is honest enough to admit. It happens in under a second. Before you speak, before you shake a hand, before your resume is opened, before your idea is heard, a decision has already been made about you. Your jawline of posture, your shoes, the cut of your clothes, the steadiness of your eyes, the speed of your movements. You are scanned, and if you signal weakness, you are categorized as prey. If you signal need, you are downgraded. If you signal uncertainty, you are deprioritized. This is not cruelty. It is biology wrapped in capitalism. You can have integrity, you can have intelligence, you can have work ethic. But if your image communicates scarcity, the world will quietly collaborate to keep you there. You felt it. You walk into a room, a networking event, a corporate boardroom, a startup pitch, even a date, and something shifts. Conversations tighten, energy recalibrates. You feel slightly outside the frame. Meanwhile, someone less competent, less disciplined, less original somehow commands the room. Why? Because they look like they belong. And belonging is the first currency of power in America. This is not about morality. It is about perception architecture. Most people think poverty is financial, but to the human nervous system, poverty is visual. It is a signal, a cracked phone screen, shoes that have surrendered, a jacket that doesn't fit, a handshake that apologizes, a voice that speeds up when challenged. These are not neutral details. They are cues, and the brain loves cues. The human brain is not built for fairness. It is built for efficiency. It does not want to investigate your hidden depth. It does not want to excavate your potential. It wants a shortcut. Your appearance is that shortcut. When you present yourself with slumped shoulders and hesitant energy, you are saving the world time. You are saying, silently, I have already lowered my own value. So they do the same. This is what most people refuse to confront. People do not recoil from visible poverty because of money. They recoil because it triggers a deeper fear. Visible lack reminds them of instability. Instability feels like risk. Risk feels dangerous, and humans avoid danger. When someone looks disorganized, neglected, chaotic, the brain translates that into unreliability. Unreliability equals liability. No hiring manager wants liability. No investor wants liability. No partner wants liability. No romantic interest wants liability. So the brain categorizes fast. Label, move on. Think about the last time you saw someone in public wearing stained clothes, speaking too loudly, explaining themselves too much. Did you wonder if they were a misunderstood genius? Or did you instinctively downgrade them? You downgraded them, not because you are cruel, because you are efficient. And this is happening to you constantly. We soothe ourselves with comfortable narratives. I'm just being authentic. I don't care what people think. I value comfort over appearance. Be careful. Comfort is the anesthetic of ambition. Authenticity without authority is background noise. When you neglect your image, you step onto the battlefield of life without armor. And in competitive systems, the unarmored are not attacked first. They are ignored first, which is worse. To understand how deep this runs, we need to examine a psychological mechanism that shapes reputations in seconds. If one visible trait signals disorder, the brain contaminates the rest. Wrinkled shirt? Probably careless. Weak eye contact? Probably insecure. Unpolished shoes? Probably disorganized. Nervous laughter? Probably lower status. This contamination effect spreads instantly. If you cannot govern your presentation, why would anyone assume you can govern money, time, or people? In America especially, presentation is interpreted as self-governance, and self-governance is interpreted as competence. Your exterior discipline becomes assumed evidence of interior order. Neglect your exterior long enough, and the world concludes your interior is chaotic too. This is not fair, but fairness is irrelevant in status systems. Now here is the paradox that stings. Money often flows towards those who look like they don't desperately need it. Walk into a bank radiating urgency, doors tighten. Walk in measured, steady, composed. Suddenly you're low risk. Desperation smells, and opportunity avoids the scent of desperation. If your voice trembles slightly when negotiating salary, you are signaling dependence. If you over-explain your value, you are signaling doubt. If you rush your words, you are signaling subordination, and people respond accordingly. Signal cost, you are avoided. Signal investment, you are pursued. This is the geometry of perception. But the mask of authority is not about expensive brands. It is about eliminating visible chaos. Maintenance is power. In America, a cracked phone screen is not just cosmetic damage. It is interpreted as tolerance for broken systems. If you allow disorder in small visible things, the brain assumes you tolerate disorder in larger, invisible things. If your car interior is chaotic, your schedule probably is too. If your grooming is inconsistent, your discipline probably is too. Again, not logically fair, but perceptually consistent. High performers understand something most people ignore. Every visible detail is testimony. You are always testifying, and the jury never announces itself. They simply adjust access.
Now let's go deeper, because clothing is surface level. The real signal of scarcity lives in behavior. Watch how a man who feels poor moves through space. He is loud in subtle ways. He talks too much, he laughs too quickly, he explains too often. He fills silence compulsively. Silence makes him anxious. In stillness, he feels exposed, judged, measured. So he floods the room with words, hoping volume replaces presence. He calls it openness. Power calls it leakage. Every unnecessary explanation is a surrender of leverage. Every nervous joke is a status concession. Every rushed movement says, "My time is not valuable." And in America, where time is currency, that signal is fatal. Observe high-status environments. Private equity meetings, top law firms, elite startup founders, executive boardrooms. The most powerful person in the room is rarely the loudest. He speaks last, moves least, interrupts rarely, maintains eye contact longer than comfortable. Stillness communicates optionality. Optionality communicates power. If you move fast without necessity, you signal you are paid by urgency. If you move slowly with control, you signal you own the clock. One of the most revealing behaviors is what I call the permission reflex. Breaking eye contact first, shrinking when passing through doors, half smiling when challenged, softening your tone when you should hold it steady. These are micro signals of submission. You can dress a low-status man in a $3,000 suit, but if he carries the permission reflex, he will still look subordinate. Conversely, you can place a disciplined man in simple clothing, and if he holds space correctly, he will look intentional. Status is posture before it is fabric. To recalibrate your presence, you must train stillness. Hold eye contact half a second longer than feels natural. Pause before answering questions. Let silence stretch without rushing to rescue it. When you stop performing for approval, others begin performing for you. And something shifts. The world does not become kinder. It becomes cautious. Because once you stop signaling vulnerability, people subconsciously recalculate risk. Now we move to something even more uncomfortable: association. You are not judged alone. You are judged in context. In America especially, proximity equals perceived similarity. If you are seen repeatedly beside complainers, undisciplined friends, chaotic thinkers, you inherit their perception, even if you are the exception. The brain does not investigate exceptions, it averages. You become the average of who you stand beside. If your circle signals scarcity, you signal scarcity. If your circle signals competence, you borrow credibility. This is why ambitious environments matter. Silicon Valley founders cluster. Wall Street operators cluster. Top performers cluster because perception compounds. When you walk into a room flanked by capable, composed individuals, you are pre-qualified. When you arrive surrounded by visible disorder, you are pre-dismissed. Audit your circle honestly. Who elevates your visual narrative? Who drags it down? This is not about loyalty. It is about trajectory. Compartmentalize if you must, but never bring chaos into arenas where perception decides access. Now we reach the strategic layer. Most people try to fix their finances before fixing their projection. That is backwards. Projection influences access. Access influences opportunity. Opportunity influences income. If you wait to look stable until you feel stable, you will wait too long. If you wait to project authority until you earn it internally, you will stay invisible. This is not about faking wealth. It is about removing visible weakness. There's a difference. Trying to look rich screams insecurity. Looking controlled communicates competence. Never overshoot your reality. Refine it. Clean lines, neutral tones, consistent grooming, measured speech, deliberate movement. Authority looks effortless. If it looks forced, you overshot. Another principle most ignore: never let effort show. True leverage appears natural. If you look like you're trying too hard to impress, you downgrade yourself. Calm dominance always beats flashy desperation. And here is the deeper psychological truth. The world does not reward who you are privately. It rewards what reflects publicly. Markets respond to signals. Employers respond to signals. Partners respond to signals. Investors respond to signals. If you reflect instability, they protect themselves. If you reflect composure, they lean in. This is not manipulation, it is calibration. You are aligning visible signals with the version of yourself you are building. Because here is the final paradox. The world does not help those who need help. It aligns with those who look capable of multiplying value. When you enter a negotiation appearing diminished, you are asking for relief. When you enter appearing selective, you are offering partnership. No one wants to fund survival. Everyone wants to fund momentum. And momentum begins visually. Now let's bring this home. If you've made it this far, something in you already understands this. You felt overlooked. You've watched less capable people rise faster. You've wondered why competence alone wasn't enough. Now you know. Perception is leverage, and leverage changes outcomes. This is not about becoming fake. It is about becoming intentional, about eliminating visible chaos, about holding space without apology, about understanding that every room you enter is already measuring you, and deciding that next time you will control the measurement. If this shifted your perspective even slightly, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who keeps getting underestimated, someone talented but misread, someone disciplined but invisible. Drop a comment if you've ever walked into a room and felt downgraded before you even spoke. I read them. And if you're serious about mastering presence, influence, and strategic perception, subscribe. Not for motivation, for leverage. Because the world evaluates in seconds. The only real question is, will you continue letting it misprice you? Or will you finally decide what you're worth and signal it accordingly? The mask is no longer theory. It's yours now. Wear it with control, until control becomes who you are.